Hello, Minnesota. I want to say a few words about the election coming up this Tuesday. And let me start off with some very bad news. Donald Trump is the President of the United States. That's pretty bad. I think, as all of you know, he is an authoritarian, doesn't believe in the Constitution or the rule of law. He's a kleptocrat. He's made billions of dollars in wealth for his family since he's been president. He is a narcissist. This guy had his way. I suspect he'd want half the buildings in America named after him. He lies every single day. He is at war with the working families of our country. Massive tax breaks for the rich, threw 15 million people off the health care that they had. And he has gotten us into this terrible, terrible war in Iran, which is, by the way, illegal and unconstitutional. That's the bad news, though. Here is the good news. The good news is that we as progressives are winning elections all across this country. We have won elections in New York, in New Jersey, in Colorado, California, in Washington, D.C., Seattle, Washington, in Ohio, in Montana, and a number of other places. And as I think most of you know, just the other day in Michigan, the progressive movement won 2 congressional elections and the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate with Dr. Abdul El Sayed. Okay, tremendous winnings, 3 in a row in Michigan. So why are we winning elections? And I think the answer is obvious. People are sick and tired of status quo politics and establishment politics and establishment policies. They understand all across this country, in Vermont, Minnesota, Michigan, everywhere. They understand that our economy is rigged, that while working families struggle to put food on the table, pay for groceries, pay for health care, pay for housing, pay for everything, while they are struggling, the billionaire class, the people on top, have never, ever had it so good. They understand that we have more income and wealth inequality today than at any time in the history of the United States. You remember the Gilded Age, Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, Jay Gould, all those trillionaires? What you got now is more inequality than existed during those days at the end of the 19th century. And the American people also understand that we have a corrupt campaign finance system which is allowing billionaires and their super PACs to buy elections. Bottom line, the working families of our country want change. They want real change. That's why progressives all over this country are winning elections, and that's what Tuesday's election in Minnesota is all about. Peggy Flanagan understands that we have a corrupt campaign finance system, and she knows that very well because she is experiencing it right now. Billionaires and their super PACs are spending a record amount of money against her in this election, somewhere around $20 million in the state of Minnesota. And if you can believe it, Peggy is being outspent 7-1 in outside spending. You know, what Peggy believes and what I believe, we believe in democracy. You got an opinion that's different than ours? Fine, go out. Let's argue it. You want to run against me? You want to run against Peggy? Fine. That's called democracy. But we cannot continue a broken and corrupt campaign finance system that allows billionaires to buy elections. And that's something very high on Peggy's agenda. Peggy also understands that our current healthcare system is broken. It is dysfunctional. It is wildly expensive. And that we need to do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child as a human right through a Medicare for All program. And Peggy understands that we need to raise the minimum wage nationally to a living wage, and that we must demand that the billionaires in America finally start paying their fair share of taxes. Peggy understands that we're never, never going to support cutting Social Security when so many of our seniors are struggling today with inadequate incomes. And rather, we have to expand Social Security by lifting the cap on taxable income. And she understands that we cannot allow Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and Ellison and Altman and other multi-billionaires to push their AI, their artificial intelligence policies, their robotics policies through without strong safeguards. In other words, we've got to make AI and robotics work for working families, not just for the wealthiest people in the country. And unlike the President of the United States, Peggy understands that climate change is not a hoax, but that it is real, and that we can create millions of good-paying jobs, transitioning away from fossil fuels and toward energy efficiency and sustainable energy. Bottom line, as all of you know, what Peggy is fighting for, what I am fighting for, what all of us are fighting for, is a government that represents all of us, not just the 1%. But in order to make that happen, we need Peggy in the United States Senate. So please, in the next few days, you got 4 or 5 days left to the election, in the next few days, do everything that you can to see that Peggy Flanagan wins the Democratic Senate primary, and that she becomes, in November, the next U.S. Senator from Minnesota. This is an enormously important election. Please, in the next few days, do everything you can to help Peggy. Let's win this thing. Thank you all very much.